Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our live stream coverage of what we call the Technology Leaders Summit. At least that's what President Trump and the White House are referring to it as. However, this is going to be a summit on cryptocurrency, just like what we had in 2025. I don't know if you'll remember the disastrous event where you had a roundtable discussion with a bunch of crypto leaders, and Infantino, the FIFA president, whom pitched FIFA crypto coin to President Trump and all of the crypto leaders. It will start in just a few minutes. We will have Coinbase representative, Ripple representative, Kraken, Gemini, Chainlink, Andreessen Horowitz, Paradigm, BitGo, Digital Chamber, Blockchain Association, and very interestingly, the New York Stock Exchange and the Nasdaq, which begs the question, are we going to witness a table that is about the Clarity Act going through? Are we going to see people conversate on policy and how we can make sure altcoins, layer ones particularly, fly? Well, that could be something to look out for. Of course, I am very much aware of Bitcoin's current price action, how we've gone bananas in the previous 2 to 3 hours. But we made a detailed update video that covered my opinions on whether if this pump should be something we consider as an ending of the bear market, or if it actually will create one of the largest traps in Bitcoin history and allow Bitcoin to continue following the four-year cyclicality. More on that after we finish the conversation, the roundtable with technology leaders. And I think this summit is purely going to be regarding clarity, regarding tokenization. Last year, it was about the Genius Act. We got the Genius Act passed. Could be a foreshadow. We will find out all together. The SEC has some breaking news. I did not get a chance to cover the SEC breaking news on the video that we uploaded. I wanted to predominantly fixate on Bitcoin price analysis, on Ethereum price analysis. But on the live stream, I want to cover what the SEC said, unbelievably huge, by the way. What it means for our industry, how it differs to the SEC of the Biden era, and talk about the FOMC statement that was released. And it's very hawkish. And the hawkishness supports the plan A of getting Bitcoin to lower areas by the end of this year or towards the final months of this year, pre ending the bull, or in fact, ending the bear and getting into the bull. I'm a pragmatic trader. Nobody has a crystal ball. And it's so important to acknowledge that we do not have a crystal ball, because if that's what you think you have, your ego will not let you be pragmatic and stop following a correlation or stop following a technical pattern that just clearly has broken, and it's clearly non-correlative. The S&P 500, I give this example way too many times, I know, and I apologize, but the S&P 500 followed four-year cycles for 30 years before coming to an end. Bitcoin has been trading in four-year cycles for over 14, or in fact 12 to 14 years. And it's been the tool to predict Bitcoin in the most accurate shape of form. Nothing has come even close. I'm going to just shut off the window. Sorry. Nothing has come in close to predicting the Bitcoin cycles or predicting Bitcoin price action anywhere near what we did with four-year cyclicality. So why abandon it? We're pumping in summer months. Bitcoin always pumps in summer months of a bear market. It's just what we do. It's normal. It is the standard. So unless the 200 daily moving average is broken, penetrated to the upside with consistent daily candle closures, I will not be the one to abandon what has worked so well. And we are like at massive parity. We're at massive parity with. We've not seen that divergence. One day we will. And maybe that day will be tomorrow or next week or the week after or in a month's time. But clearly, there is a higher group of individuals whom state everyone expects Bitcoin to bottom in October, so that's why it's not going to happen, compared to the ones who keep track with what's working. I mean, remember at $81,000, right there, we said, look, we're going to dump. I posted a video, once in a lifetime Bitcoin opportunity. We were in a bear flag, topping on the 4 hourly, retest the 200 daily moving average, resistance from volume, clearly was a top. And we did top. We didn't break the 4 years. We didn't go to new all-time highs. We went lower. And that's plan A. Plan B, we breached the 200 daily moving average. We remained consistently above it. And great, I'll put a stop. I've got a stop already at the wick, the daily wick high, to exit my scalp short. And I'll put in my $500,000 long position. That's fine. That's totally fine. This is the mindset, a non-emotional mindset I believe we should all have when it comes to approaching Bitcoin and assets that we are clearly very emotional about. We want it to rise. We want it to be of significant value. But if we mix up emotions into this, we're never going to get it right. And there's only a 1%, 2%, 3% that can eliminate those emotions and focus on statistics, on data, on what has worked, and be willing to change opinion when the facts tell you and suggest you to do so. I'm happy. If we can break the 200 daily moving average and we end the bear market early, amazing. Great. I've got a bunch of Bitcoin that I'm waiting for it to go up in value. I'll be the happiest person in the room. I'll be the happiest person in the room, believe me. But please look at the charts. Bull and bear market resistance band, 200 daily moving average, falling wedge resistance. Take a look at 2018, 2026, capitulation into February, capitulation into February, higher low in April, higher low in April, and then retest of the 200 daily moving average in May to later take out your Feb low in June, And you get a short-term bottomy pattern structure. So this was an inverse head and shoulder. This was a W. Actually, this was also an inverse head and shoulder. I'm noticing now that this was an inverse head and shoulder, and this was an inverse head and shoulder. And you've reached the 200-day moving average. Like, can you not see? It's scarily similar. It is scarily similar. Summer, summer. Inverse head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulder. The top was a double top, the top was a double top, and it dumped you lower. It's the exact same. So when I say I don't want to abandon something that works, like I'm happy to abandon it if we break above the resistance, like that's logical. But why abandon it now? Why abandon it now? In my belief, it's utter stupidity. No offense. No offense to anyone who thinks different. It's just my opinion. I think it's utter stupidity to abandon the 4 year cycle now. Anyways, if you're looking to trade the current ongoing volatility, you can check out the links in the description down below. 2 weeks to Bybit, and you can get a cool extra bonus when you use our particular link. The Technology Summit, which will be derived of predominantly crypto people, shall begin in a few minutes' time. You know that President Trump is usually late. So as soon as he's live, I will shift the coverage to that live stream and we'll listen to what President Trump has to say about crypto. It's been a while since he's spoken about it. I'm checking the chat right now. Emra says, very sober analysis, FA. Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. Vanilla Funk, you're 100% right. Well, let's see about that. Luck Crypto, hey guys, great to see Luck Crypto in the chat, a fellow great YouTuber, by the way. At least someone is level-headed after manipulation pumps. Thank you. Look, just eliminate FOMO. There's no need to panic. There's no need to have any sort of urgency. It's normal to have it, and believe me, like 2 years ago, Crypto Kid 2 years ago would have gone bananas about this like green candle. Really. But now I don't care as much. Like it's just you see the move, you've got your plan, and things have been, knock on woods, going to plan beautifully. We said that if Bitcoin breaks above the resistance of the triangle it had formed, and we go above the point of control, then the bullish target is number one, 66.7, the value area high, the blue line. And if we surpass that, you complete your inverse head and shoulder, and we will hit the 200 daily moving average. Check, check. Great. Great. Next step, well, the logical next step is following 2018. Maybe we don't follow 2018. But trading is a game of statistics. It's a game of probability. Nothing is 100% guaranteed. I can make a specific route that Bitcoin can take very convincing by showing you what I found 8 years ago, contrasting that with current price action, looking at different technical indications, oscillators. And if I find that to be okay, you know what, I've seen enough evidence, then I'll take a position based off of that, like I've done so. Simple, but not easy. Simple, but not easy to do. By the way, Bitcoin wiped off $1.1 billion worth of short positions in a matter of 4 hours. Insane. Insane. Huge amounts of short positions were built into Bitcoin. So, ouch. If you had a short, ouch. Yeah, hope you're doing fine. Hope you're doing fine. Where is Trump, man? Where is Trump? Why is he always late? I guess he is the president of the United States of America. HVERRE says, yeah, my only concern is that if everyone thinks it's about to pump after November, why would it? Like it's with everything. So, okay, here's the thing, and it's a very valid point. And I want to bring up this tweet from Ben Cow. I need to be honest with you. I agree with Ben. There are more people claiming that everybody thinks that we're going to bottom in October, so we're not going to bottom in October, than the amount of people who say we're going to bottom in October. It's just the reality. Okay. So this is one. Number two. Number two. Even if everybody is saying or thinking in a collective similar mindset, if everybody's waiting on the sidelines to put their cash into Bitcoin in a given month, we're saying October, the way that markets move to the upside is with capital coming into that asset. So if everybody is planning to put their money into Bitcoin in October, that means Bitcoin will pump in October because everybody's positioned in that way. You see? So in both scenarios, you draw the conclusion to plan A, lower in Q4. I emphasize one more time, it may not happen. Bitcoin, if we go above the 200 daily moving average consistently, I will say, okay, cool, this was amazing. We had 14, 12 years of predictability. We calculated the Bitcoin top in 2025 for it to have been in October. Exactly. I sold the Bitcoin I wanted to sell around $100,000. I sold my altcoins when Bitcoin was around $100,000. And I've been accumulating the dip and the bear, and I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I will say ciao. It's been a great time, my friend, for your cycles, but from now on, you're no more. And I'll accept it. I'll accept it. It's all about acceptance and trading the market you have, not the market you want. That is also a quote from Ben Cowan. If you don't mind, ladies and gents, I'm going to ask a very small favor. If you can, destroy the like button as you're coming into today's show, would be so amazing. It would be really fantastic because it helps the YouTube algorithm in pushing our content, saying that, hey, you know what, Crypto Kid, he's working hard. Let's make sure he gets more viewers. So if you can, that would mean the world to me. I'm here daily. We just hit 67,600 subscribers. I appreciate that. We do daily Bitcoin analysis, bull market, bear market. Like I can't care less. All I care about is giving you the information that I find is relevant and you making better decisions on your investing with a little bit of information-based help from my side. We covered the fundamental reason for the short-term pump. It was actually because of the US Treasury buyback announcement. President Trump late as usual, so we're waiting. And in the meantime, I'll just cover the news that I had. So Bitcoin after the US Treasury buyback announcement, huge explosion upwards. We know that America is about to hit a historic debt level of 40 trillion. $40 trillion of national debt with no way, shape, or form of paying it back. You can't pay it back. President Trump's administration was the most ambitious administration to reduce the deficit and pay back the debts. What did they do? Department of Government Efficiency. What did they do? Tariffs. What was the consequence? Well, they needed to refund all of their tariffs. They caused a bunch of inflation and a bunch of uncertainty in the market. What did they do? Department of Government Efficiency, gone. gone. It doesn't exist anymore since Jan up until now. They decided to open what I find to be a ridiculous war in the Middle East. I could be wrong. I could be right. Just a very surface level observation that added even more debt to their piled up debt. And what's the result from July up until August the 19th? This number ticked up by $500 billion. America has to refinance $9.5 trillion of the debt, so collect new buyers into their bonds before 2026 comes to a finish. Who's buying American treasuries? Absolutely no one. Since nobody's buying, premiums have gone to 5.3, levels unseen since 2007, and the biggest buyer of American treasuries, Japan, has been threatening to sell. As a result, if you don't want to go bankrupt, you got to press the magic button that prints money out of thin air to buy back your own debts, to pay off your prior investors, and cause your money to go significantly down in value. If you print more of something and the demand is not persistent, its value will tank. And everything that trades against said US dollar that's scarce like Bitcoin will appreciate in value. So this news was a major contributor to today's price increase. We had the Bollinger Bands compressing at the highest mark. October 2023 was the last time the Bollinger Bands had compressed this much. It doesn't give magnitude. It gives magnitude, not direction. So we had to analyze things like the symmetrical triangle, and then the inverse head and shoulder, and looked at Fourier cyclicality to say, hey, you know what? If we break this upper resistance at 64.6, then it's super likely we reached initially the value area high, check, and then the 200 daily moving average, also check. That's the debt. That was the fundamental reason behind our current pump. Ethereum, on the other hand, we shared a post just 30 hours ago on my Twitter saying that Ethereum breakout loading. If you remember 2 videos back, Ethereum's W pattern way more textbook than what Bitcoin had constructed. This is also a W, but Ethereum's is far more beautiful. Like it lines up on the same support. It's not, one isn't lower, one isn't higher. You look at the pennant, it's a pennant, it's not a symmetrical triangle. The Bollinger Bands coincided exactly with the resistance of the pennant. And that was clear too. If we broke above the pennant's upper line, then I would be optimistic for a rally into $2,400. This was at 1,938. Now we're sitting at 2,089. If you are in an Ethereum long position, I'm not in any. So I only bought up spot Ethereum. I didn't want to accumulate any leveraged ETH because in the event of capitulation from BTC's side, I don't want to be stuck in any altcoin long whatsoever. But my spot Ethereum holdings are definitely happy because they're up. If I were in an Ethereum long, I would A, take profits here, B, put my stop loss to break even. That's all I can say. That is all that I can say with regards to it. President Trump is officially 21 minutes late. That has not happened before and totally didn't expect it for tonight. So we're going to have to just chill around for some more time. I've got one more piece of news, and after I cover the news, maybe I'll have to just start dancing or something. I don't know. We'll talk about the SEC, but first, let me give the chat some love. If you have any questions whatsoever, let me know in the chat, and we will go through it. Somebody said the summit is live. No, it's not. I have the stream here. It is not live. I will refresh it just in case. But no, we're not live as of now. It still hasn't begun. What do you think about an Ethereum short, says Snarks? No, I wouldn't be. I'm not, at least. You do you, but I'm not shorting Ethereum. I did short Bitcoin. It was a more obvious trade for me. I would have done it earlier at exactly the 200 daily moving average, but I was streaming. So I was on stream and I told Carl, man, like if I wasn't streaming right now, I would go short like on the second. But unfortunately, I had to jump into that position right after ending. So my entry was a little bit worse than what I would have imagined, but it's okay. It is what it is. It's the struggles of creating content and trading simultaneously. X Davy has a short in SpaceX. That's interesting. Bro, what's your story? How did you come to Dubai? Well, I actually grew up in Dubai, so I was 9 months old. I was born in Istanbul, but my dad got a job offer in Dubai in 2008, which is why we moved. We actually moved to Sharjah. I was in Dubai more recently, 7 years ago. What about Hyperliquid? I love Hyperliquid. I've got a full research report, Jaren, on Hyperliquid. It's still relevant, just aside from the price analysis. I did some price analysis at the end, which ain't relevant no more, but the article itself definitely is. See, I'll give you a TLDR. Hyperliquid's token is a coin. It's a layer one. And aside from being a layer one, which categorizes it, according to the SEC and the CFTC, as a commodity, the business generates tons of money. It's one of those rare things in crypto where the business is actually generating revenue, and the revenue, 90% and plus of the profits, is reinvested into the coin, which has its own layer one, and all the trades go through that layer one. It's a specialized chain for trading that nobody's done to this accuracy and this competency before. And over 90% of the profits are bought back in the coin. So when the coin drops, it really doesn't drop so much. Like Hyperliquid held up phenomenally well in the bear. Like you went from 76 to $51, but look at the macro. It's due to the buying pressure. And the ETFs, the ETF issuers, aside from Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, out of all of the cryptocurrencies, they decided to create an ETF for none other than Hyperliquid. It's so interesting. It's a commodity with tons of buying pressure, backed by a very well used product. So I'm very bullish on Hyperliquid. I see it, reaching the 120 territories during the bull. And honestly, what do I believe in more for the short term, Hyperliquid or Ethereum? It'd be a close battle. It would definitely be a close battle. I can't wait for hype to go back up to 70, says Solara Tech. Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. Gareth Soloway said that 77K is next. Oh boy, Gareth Soloway being bullish is not bullish. I think we all know that. The guy shorted from, you know what, there's nothing wrong with, like, we can be wrong, but the guy shorted in the 30s and kept adding to his short as the bull market developed instead of accepting a losing trade and getting out. He doubled down, and that's an amateur move. You don't do that. Number one law or number two law of risk management. The fake summit footage I was watching must have been an old rebroadcast. Yeah, it's possible. We did have a summit before, and I covered it in the beginning of the show. This was in March of 2025, where FIFA president pitched FIFA coin to a bunch of crypto executives. It was hilarious. What about Solana? Well, I've got a bot actually that I've forgotten about and I remembered today. I have a bot on Solana that just did so much accumulation. It's still accumulating. Solana, thing is, right, if Bitcoin does capitulate into Q4, which is our plan A, then Ethereum, Solana, all of these altcoins will take another big dump. So when buying altcoins now, we have to have the mentality, the following mentality. Great volume, by the way. That's a good sign. Having that good volume is phenomenal. So if you're buying into an alt as we speak, then we must accept the possibility of another 30, 40, 50% crash. You need to be okay with that. You need to have major peace with Solana dropping potentially another 30, 40, 50%. So if you make that peace, then I think purchasing now makes, in my opinion, total sense. Because if I buy an altcoin today, I'm not buying it to hold for a short-term quick flip. No, I'm buying it for a minimum of 2 years. I was so upset. 2 days ago, I went to like this housewarming party, and one of the guys there was like, "Hey, crypto kid," said, "Hey, how can I make quick money with crypto?" And I was like, "Oh my God, like guys, I get it. We all want to get rich quick. I understand. I get it. And really, in the top of the bull markets, you have some opportunities to make a lot of money fast. But only at the top of the bull market, and if you're well informed and you can risk manage properly. Because if you make the money, you need to be able to keep it, and that's even harder to do. I said, look, just buy Bitcoin, a little bit of Bitcoin daily. I mean, you're young, you're 22 years old. Buy some Bitcoin every day. Do that for 10, 15 years. Don't sell, and you're going to be rich. And he hated my answer. He was about to leave the table. But that's the truth. Like everybody's seeking for this massively complicated answer of becoming rich from crypto. Just, dude, just buy Bitcoin daily. Do it every single day. It can be $10, $5, $100, depends on your tolerance. Do it for 10 years, and I'm telling you, you're going to be a rich man. Yeah, like this financial system is not going to last too long. When it breaks, Bitcoin will go Valhalla. Like, look at how much we went up by just after the announcement of a doubling of buying back in the long-term bonds. Can you imagine how much Bitcoin will go up when the financial system collapses? It's very easy to do, but I promise you, even the crypto kids that are watching, and I'm sorry to say this, but out of 383 people, maybe two or one person will be doing it, and that's including myself, right? It's very easy, but nobody's going to do it because nobody believes that, okay, if I buy Bitcoin daily and do it for 10 years, like nobody actually believes it, and nobody's bothered enough to do it. But really, it's the biggest opportunity, in my opinion, of our lifetime. My top 5 coins for the next bull market. Okay, just off the top of my head, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Hyperliquid, um, Chainlink, so tokenization, XLM, Stellar, the only coin that the DTCC, the clearinghouse, which processes 4.7 quadrillion dollars worth of volume per year, the guys that will tokenize the entire financial system starting September. They announced one partnership with a blockchain and one partnership only. That is Stellar XLM. And this coin on the news, by the way, it surged pretty dramatically, but it came straight back down because why? We're in a bear market. And the news, I'm telling you, is not priced in. It really is not. This is the biggest thing ever, man. It's the biggest thing ever. So XLM, Chainlink, Ethereum, Hyperliquid, Bitcoin, that's 5. I probably can think of more, but I've been making content for the past 4 hours straight, so my brain is a little bit fried, and I can't wait for Trump to start speaking. The guy is officially half an hour late now. Um, let's see what else. I appreciate your likes, by the way. Let's quickly check up on how many likes are we at? Are we at 100 already? Sorry, sorry. We are indeed at 100 likes. Thank you so much. If we can get to 200, I know I'm being greedy here, but it would truly be amazing. Thank you. I appreciate you. All crypto is up today. My hype is massive. Yeah, dude, crypto is having a good day. After many, many bad days, we're having a good day, but don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. We're still in a bear market. We are still very much in a bear market. Bitcoin goes up more days in a bear market than it goes down. That's also a fact. We go up more in terms of number of days than we go down in a bear market. It's just that when we go down, it's very severe. It is very severe when we go down. So don't forget that. Don't forget that. Mysterious Way of Life Truth says, love you, mates. Hopefully, Mysterious Way of Truth, you are a lady. Hopefully. Jokes aside, I love Ivory Crypto Kit also. I have daily auto buys and a set percentage of my direct deposit to buy Bitcoin. Dude, Jason, you're gonna be so rich. You're gonna be so tired of winning, Jason. It's gonna be remarkable. I'm very proud of you. Very, very proud of you. They also give you SAT rewards for paying bills. No way. What app is that? Strider, so should I short BTC? Well, you need to decide that for yourself, but I'm short with a tight stop loss at the wick because look, if the 4-year cycle is going to break, which would be confirmed with a couple of daily candle closures above the 200 moving average, then I don't want to be trapped into a short. So a stop loss is key, but I'm definitely taking the short personally because we're just at so much resistance. Like we're at 200-day moving average, bull and bear market resistance band. 4-day falling wedge. 69K is the 2021 all-time high. Through March to October of 2024, 69 many times retested. Like it's so significant resistance that and it aligns beautifully with the theory of the 4-year cycles, having that summer pump and then Q4 leg down. I will of course take the short, and if it gets wiped, it gets wiped. But I mean, with everything pointing into the same direction, I will obviously take the short position. There he is. Okay, I will mute myself.
It's a serious group of people here. If you're into the world of finance like I am, I love finance. There's a who's who with us today. It's amazing that you don't know some of these people, but anybody in finance knows every one of them. And I want to thank them for being here today. We're delighted to welcome some of our nation's brightest minds in finance, crypto, and technology ahead of the first ever meeting of the CFTC's Innovation Advisory Committee in Washington, D.C. This is a group of very smart people that are on a committee to recommend what we do. Right, Paul? They're going to be telling us a little bit. But I think Paul knows maybe more than anybody. He's doing a great job. We're all happy with Paul, I think, right? He's been absolutely fantastic. Crypto markets and the prediction markets and conventional finance to decentralized finance. The people in this room are ensuring that the future of commercial markets is pioneered and perfected right here in the USA. We're fighting a lot of other countries to control these markets and to have these markets and to profit and all the jobs and everything else created, and we're doing well. We're leading in every aspect, including AI, and we're leading by a lot. And we want to keep it that way. I want to thank the chairman of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, Mike Selig, for his tremendous leadership. And come here. Thank you, Mike. I didn't recognize you from so close. And thanks as well to a very special man, a man that everybody respected for a long time. Yeah, he's a man I wanted to do this job, head of the SEC. Chairman Paul Atkins, who's also doing an outstanding job in everything else he touches. He's doing a lot of things for the country, so I want to thank you very much. Great job. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Paul. We're also pleased to be joined by Executive Director of the President's Council with advisors with the digital asset. All of the digital assets are all put into one. Patrick Witt and many other top industry leaders, including Coinbase. Where's Brian? Brian Armstrong, CEO. He's one of the greats. Where is he? Where are you? Oh, you look well. You get much younger. You look good. CEO of International and Intercontinental Exchange, Jeff Sprecher. One of the things, a little thing called the New York Stock Exchange. He owns a thing called the New York Stock Exchange, quite a nice asset, right?
Yes, it is.
CEO of NASDAQ, Adena Friedman. Thank you very much, Adena. Great job you're doing. CEO of Robinhood, Vlad Tenev. Thank you, Vlad. Nice to see you. And CEO of Kraken, Arjun Sethi. And thank you very much, wherever you are. Thank you very much. Great group of people. We also have some others here that we wanted them. Where's Mike, co-founder of CEO of CTO and president of BitGo, which is a big deal in the world of that thing, that little thing that's happening out there. And Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple. Brad? Thanks, sir. Thank you very much, Brad. Sergey Nazarov, co-founder of Chainlink Labs. Thank you very much. Good, Sergey. Good job. Arjan, you're here. Arjan?
I'm still here.
You're here? You haven't left? Peter Smith is here, and Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss have tremendous people, tremendous investors, brilliant people. Chris Dixon is here, and I think I've sort of got anybody I didn't mention, by the way. Pretty much got the whole group. Good. They gave me 4 sets of lists. And that's always a little complex. You never want to say one more than 3 times. Under the crooked Joe Biden administration, the spirit of innovation that built America was under serious attack like never before. And nowhere was that more true than crypto and other new financial technologies, where we were going to be taken to the cleaners by China and other countries. The radical left tried to crush these developments with crippling regulations, brutal restrictions, weaponization. They use weaponization, political weaponization, and constant targeting that drove innovation overseas, and they wanted to drive it out. And at the end of toward the end of the campaign, if you remember, they decided they liked it very much because there were over 100 million people that were liking Trump a lot more because I was in favor of it. They were against it, and they became very much in favor of it. But by that time, it was too late. And besides, those days are all over. That was a terrible period of time for a lot of very good, very honorable financial people. On day one, we fired Joe Biden's rogue SEC chair, Gary Gensler. I think we like Paul better. Do we agree? We like Paul better? Number one, he's smarter. He's also smarter, by the way. But we fired him. We got him the hell out of here. We terminated the so-called Operation Choke Point 2.0, which is what the name of their operation was, weaponization. And we ended the war on crypto once and for all. And it's been booming. It's been doing big. And nobody's been able to break in. China would like to break in. They're still trying, but they have been able to. I signed a historic executive order banning any attempt to create a central bank digital currency. We launched Project Crypto to modernize rules so that our financial markets can move into blockchain technology. I established the United States Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, making Bitcoin a permanent asset of the United States Treasury, which has turned out incredibly well. I also created the United States Digital Asset Stockpile to hold custody of all other digital assets, and that's exactly what it's done. It's been amazing. 1 year ago this summer, I signed landmark legislation known as the Genius Act. I named it after myself. I didn't want to use my name, so I just called it the Genius Act, paving the way for widespread adoption of dollar-backed stablecoins. And that's worked out very well. Every single American benefits enormously from our country's status as the financial center of the world, and we want to keep it that way. We're leading by leaps and bounds. We've gained so much in the last 16 months like nobody can believe, actually. Not only that, but we have more money being invested in the United States than any country at any time in history. Money's coming in by the trillions. Our nation's economic dominance drives trillions of dollars in investments, creates millions of jobs, and expands access, credit, and capital so that every citizen has a chance to achieve what we now hear a lot about, the American dream. Young people are looking for the American dream. They weren't thinking about that 2 years ago. New financial technologies are extending this American dominance into the 21st century, and that's why we're focused on creating a clear regulatory framework for pioneers and builders like the people that are with me here so that they can do business with confidence on American soil. They don't have to go to other countries to do their business. We're ensuring that America remains the undisputed leader, not only in Bitcoin and crypto, but also technologies like prediction markets, artificial intelligence, and much more. And we're leading in every single one. And I will tell you, the AI, the artificial intelligence, we're way ahead of number two. Number two is China. And I never want to underestimate China, but right now we're way ahead. President Xi's coming on September 24th. We look forward to it. We'll probably be talking about AI and a lot of other things, but we're doing tremendously well, largely because of people and some other friends of ours that are on the board, and they'll be here in 2 weeks, I understand. In May, Chairman Selig authorized the first ever true Bitcoin perpetual futures contract on a CFTC registered exchange, first time. I understand that Mike is also working to bring Hyperliquid into the United States in a fully compliant and legal fashion. It's working very hard on that. We would really like to see interest rates come down. You know, in the old days with interest rates, many of you are too young to know this, but when we announced good numbers, interest rates would go down. And the theory was because the asset value became so good, it became so prime. But now when we announce good numbers, which we're doing all the time, they keep driving the interest rates up because they're so afraid of inflation. And they shouldn't be. They should allow interest rates to go down. When you announce good numbers, you shouldn't drive them up. They keep thinking that we'll drive them up to stop inflation because success and growth does not cause inflation. Other things cause inflation. We inherited the #1 inflation ever in the history of our country from Biden, and it lifted prices and everything else, and we're getting them all down. but interest rates should be allowed to fall with the success of our country, not rise because of the success. But we're also on the very beginning of a revolution in fictional and financial. You take a look at some of the things that are being done on a financial basis and the financial technology that's the potential to create more jobs, opportunity, and wealth for all Americans. And that's what it's doing. It's creating jobs and great wealth. And I think that can't be better seen by the stock market. So we've had 80 in a short period of time, a year and a half. We've had 80 days where the stock market hit all-time highs. I haven't looked today. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't look. I don't want to look. But I hear it's good. But we've had 80 days, Jeff, where the stock market has hit an all-time high. And nobody's ever seen anything like that. And I think bringing it down to another level, and maybe a higher level from the standpoint of importance, 401ks have hit record highs on almost 40% of the time that I've been president of the United States, and that affects tens of millions of people. The 401ks are at record numbers. So 2 years ago, our country was dead, and now our country is the hottest country anywhere in the world. There's nobody close. No other country is close, and every country will admit it. So now we need Congress to take the next step by passing the Clarity Act, a fair version of the Clarity Act, and this landmark structure legislation. It's a very, very powerful structured legislation which will keep us ahead of China, keep us ahead of everyone else, will open the door to the next wave of innovations and innovators. So I'd like to ask Chairman Selig to say a few words and a little bit of the details about what we're doing, and then we'll follow it up with Chairman Atkins and Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong, Intercontinental Exchange CEO Jeff Sprecher, Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenev, and Kraken CEO Arjan. So we have that all set, and let's get going. And you know what? If you want to speak for a very short period of time, that's okay, too.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. President. It's an honor to be here with you and this exceptional group of business leaders. Thanks to your leadership, the era of political lawfare, debanking, and regulation by enforcement is over. Innovators like the people in this room are welcome to the White House, not railroaded to the big house. And the new frontier of finance is being built right here in the United States of America. From day one, this president has been clear. America will not fall behind and allow other countries to take its place as the greatest country on earth to build a new technology, operate a business, and invest for the future. The world will run on the backbone of American technology. Under President Trump's leadership, we've codified the Genius Act, established a strategic Bitcoin reserve, drawn a clear line in the sand between crypto securities and commodities, launched the first U.S. crypto perpetual, and protected the rights of software developers. We've exiled Gary Gensler, defeated the anti-crypto army, and made the United States the crypto capital of the world. I'm proud to be working with Secretary Lutnick in the Department of Commerce as well to make America the compute capital of the world. This may be the most important commodity of our day. Some call it digital oil, and America needs to dominate these markets to win the AI race. We've also protected federally regulated prediction markets from rogue state attorneys generals like Letitia James, who seek to nullify federal law and drive these markets offshore to unregulated and foreign venues. American dominance in the technologies that will define the future remains unmatched. We are truly in a golden age of American innovation. Now, the United States has a choice. We can either write the rules that define the next generation of financial markets, or we can let other countries write them for us. With Congress advancing the Clarity Act towards the finish line, we stand ready to implement the bill once the president signs it. But we'll use every tool available to move the president's pro-innovation agenda forward in the meantime. Tomorrow at the inaugural meeting of the CFTC's Innovation Advisory Committee, I look forward to sharing more details on our regulatory path forward. A path forward that provides greater certainty for innovators while reinforcing confidence in our markets for decades to come. This president has assembled an extraordinary team of entrepreneurs, builders, investors, and business leaders advising in government, like David Sachs, of course, and Patrick Witt. This real-world experience has already brought valuable perspectives into policymaking, and it will continue to pay dividends for the American people. Innovation depends on regulatory clarity. Clear rules create confidence, confidence attracts investment, and investment creates jobs, strengthens our markets, and keeps the world's best talent building here in America. Mr. President, thank you again for your leadership and for making American innovation great again. The work we're doing now to shape the future of our great nation will do measures for decades to come. Now, I'm honored to introduce the most pro-innovation, pro-free market SEC chairman in America's history, and it's not Gary Gensler, of course. It's Paul Atkins. So, Mr. Chairman, please.
Well, thank you, Mike, and thank you, Mr. President, for having us here today. From day one, you've made our nation's financial dominance and innovation job one. We at the SEC are delivering on your agenda. We're making IPOs great again, to continue on your theme, by cutting red tape that discourages companies from going public. Under your leadership, Mr. President, the IPO market is booming. Since Inauguration Day, 583 companies have gone public, and that's up 75% compared to the final year and a half of the Biden administration. And those companies have raised an impressive $208 billion, and that's nearly 4 times the amount raised during the final year and a half of the previous administration. So that's just not incremental progress. That is a turnaround. You've committed to making the United States the crypto capital of the world. And yesterday, the SEC, I'm proud to say, took another significant step to deliver on that. Our proposal, the Crypto Assets Rule, would provide crypto entrepreneurs like those here in this room and job creators the certainty to raise capital in the United States using digital assets. This action is consonant with our belief that the most important priority is for Congress to send the Clarity Act to your desk for your signature. And the SEC is doing everything we can to support that work. So thank you again, Mr. President, for leading this nation to ensure that we continue to have the strongest markets in the world, to reshore innovation, and to welcome, yes, a whole new generation of investors through the Trump accounts. So under your leadership, we will make sure that the greatest advances of the technological frontier are right here in America. So thank you very much.
Well, this morning I was thinking back to the 2024 campaign where the president, I think, very astutely recognized there was millions of voters in the United States who felt disenfranchised by the prior administration. And he made a commitment at that time to make America the crypto capital of the world, and within weeks of taking office, delivered on that promise. And it started first with this executive order, which came out ordering the agencies in his administration to take steps in this direction. Shortly thereafter, appointed 2 of the most competent and pro-innovation regulators anywhere in the world, Chair Selig and Chair Atkins, and of course fired Gary Gensler. There was that big applause line at the Bitcoin conference, which was powerful. And of course, the Genius Act was another milestone just in the past year, along with the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, et cetera. And just this week, I have to commend Chair Atkins for publishing this new rule that allows crypto projects to raise capital in the US for the first time. There's clarity on that. And Chair Selig, we're excited to attend the advisory committee meeting tomorrow to make progress there. So an incredible amount of progress has been made, and I think what's most important next, of course, is this September 15th vote that we have with the Clarity Act. This would make all of the progress that this administration has made durable into the future, so it could survive for decades and decades to come. And make no mistake, there are folks out there who they want to see this legislation not happen, right? Maybe some of the big banks don't want the competition from crypto companies. Other banks are leaning in and have endorsed it, which I think is really powerful. And so if we all come together, I think we can get this bill over the finish line and hopefully get more than 60 votes come September 15th. Thank you.
And it's very bipartisan, I would say, so you
Very-
could say that very much.
That is true.
A lot of Democrat support.
There's hundreds of pages of changes that have come in from the Democrat side as well. It's a true bipartisan compromise, and yeah, it's a great work product. So up next, I think, is Jeff Sprecher.
Sorry.
Thank you. Mr. President, I just wanted to tell you that, that your trade policies of fair trade to bring back jobs and businesses from overseas, your energy dominance policies to fuel the next generation of technology in the United States, your big, beautiful bill that created incentives for investments has led to the records that you're hearing about in our stock markets, the record number of IPOs. And as you know from working with my wife who works on private businesses, there's a record number of business formations in this country right now. So we're here to talk about how to evolve regulation so that we don't impede that progress. But one of the things I can tell you about the New York Stock Exchange is that it was formed at the time of our country. And so it, for 250 years, has been subject to every single financial services regulation that has ever passed in the United States, bar none. And so one of the things that I'm so thankful that you've done is put two really strong chairs in these seats and ask them to go through past legislation, regulation, and figure out what we can get rid of that no longer serves the interests of this country. And for that, I really appreciate that on behalf of the New York Stock Exchange.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Jeff. Thank you.
Mr. President, thank you for bringing us together and for your work to ensure the next generation of Americans has a stake in the country's economic success through the Trump accounts and many other things. Thank you also to Chair Seelig, Chair Atkins, your administration, for the work underway to strengthen American capital markets and expand opportunity for all Americans. If I had to sum up Robinhood in one word, it would be ownership. Broad ownership is essential to a free, stable, and prosperous society. That belief has shaped pretty much every product we've built, from commission-free investing to 24-hour trading, and now outside the United States to tokenization, which we're using to expand ownership of American assets to people in more than 120 countries. Yet this innovation is reaching investors abroad before investors here back home. And the opportunity goes far beyond public markets. Tokenization will open up markets that have long been out of reach, including private companies. Today, too much economic value is being created before ordinary investors get a chance to participate. Expanding ownership also requires protecting investors. Innovation and investor protection aren't opposing goals. America became the world's capital markets capital by doing both, and the chairs here understand that. American companies are building this technology. American markets are powering it. American assets are also at the center of it. American investors should not be the last to benefit. We look forward to continue to work together to expand ownership, build the next generation of capital markets, and ensure America leads the way. Thank you.
Great job.
Arjun.
Hello, everyone. I was thinking about what I was going to say today. Most of the time, I don't speak too much, but the first time I met the president, he said, "What does your company do?" And I said, we're a startup, we move at warp speed, and the first thing he said is, "Why not at Trump speed?" So we started acting that way. Look, our mission at Kraken isn't about Kraken. Brian created Coinbase. Vlad here, you have ICE, NASDAQ. They created the world markets. And all we're trying to do is make sure that everyone in America has the ability to be able to succeed in the same way that we did. And that's essentially how we think about it. So our motto at Kraken has been fix money, we fix the world. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Greg. And if you have any questions, or if anybody else of this very distinguished, would somebody like to say something? My male models who happen to be genius, they're brilliant and they look good, right? But anybody, would you like to say something? Go ahead, please.
Just want to thank you, Mr. President, for all of your leadership. America should lead in crypto and win in markets like prediction markets. And with your leadership and your administration, you're helping America lead here and become the crypto capital of the world. So thank you very much. I just want to thank you, Mr. President, as well as Chairman Atkins and Chairman Selig for the great work that they're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to say that what Chairman Selig and Chairman Atkins are doing and the President has enabled with his leadership is actually working. So if you look at stablecoin usage and adoption, it's increasing the usage and distribution of the US dollar at higher and higher levels than our industry has ever seen, specifically because of the Genius Act and the movement of more and more treasuries into stablecoins and therefore into more and more hands across the world. And now the tokenization of equities, thanks to Chairman Selig's and Chairman Atkins' great work and collaboration and actual work together rather than working against each other as before, is going to distribute US equities globally and increase the distribution of those. So, we power a lot of these applications and companies, so we know what the numbers actually are, and they're massively increasing because we have regulators and leadership that enables the success and distribution of these US-based assets. So there's actually a very real and tangible outcome that's really now benefiting the US and adoption of US-issued assets and the US dollar. So I just want to mention that. It really is working and hitting all-time highs. So thank you very much. Thank you.
So if you have any questions, we have a meeting next week with the AI people. The top people are coming in, so we can talk about that. But we're leading by a lot with AI. We want to keep it that way. We want to regulate, but we want to have it regulation where they can continue to lead, not regulation that's going to stifle a very important industry. I think maybe bigger than the internet, bigger than anything anyone's seen. And we're helping in that regard, especially with regard to allowing them to produce their own electricity, which everyone thought was crazy that it would never be approved. We're getting them fast 2- and 3-week approvals. They're building some of the greatest electric plants anywhere in the world because our grid is old and tired and weak, and they're actually giving the excess electricity into the grid, but they're building power plants that nobody's ever seen anything like it. We're not using the power from the grid. We're using brand new power, so it's a great thing because that misconception has been out there that we're taking electricity. We're actually creating electricity, and that's something I was proud of because that was my idea. Nobody believed it. Actually, it went along for 2-3 weeks. I said, how come these guys aren't submitting? Well, they thought that you were just kidding because that's the way it's been in this country. Nobody would ever say a thing like that. But no, they're building power plants, the likes of which, all different, fueled all different ways, but the likes of which we've never seen. The people that are in the power business said we're seeing things that we've never seen before because a very high level of intelligence is doing it. So it's been great. Okay, any questions?
Mr. President.
Yeah, please.
Mr. President, does the administration have any plans to accumulate sizable amounts of Bitcoin or other crypto?
Well, it's been talked about. I think I'd probably rely on Paul and the whole group for that. He'll make a decision. You guys will make a decision. And you'll let me know. But certainly it's been talked about. It's taken a lot of pressure off the dollar. It's been very, very good for the dollar. And I think if you came in with recommendations, two of you, if you came in with some recommendations, I would certainly listen. It seems to be a pretty big subject. Yes, please.
Hi, President Trump. I have 2 quick questions.
Go ahead.
Don't get around here much. So my first question is, we're talking about AI and crypto a lot.
Right.
You won overwhelmingly with working class Americans in 2024, tens of millions of working
Right.
class Americans. Many of them, they say, we love President Trump, but we're still cautious about AI and
Yeah.
crypto. What do you say to those who are still reticent to embrace this?
So I think it's a great question, and I think it's going to create a lot of jobs. It's going to create success. It's going to create tremendous innovation medically. I mean, they're coming up with already, amazingly, they came out with something today that I looked at it having to do, I won't go into the details, but having to do with a pretty unstoppable disease, and all of a sudden they're coming up with answers that they never thought were possible and things that they never even would have thought about. So I think it's really creating jobs. And I can tell you one thing, if you look at our construction jobs right now, because we're building more plants, factories, things that really have something to do with the AI, but also car factories, car plants, they're moving into our country. Honda just announced, Toyota just announced, they're moving their operations from Mexico, from Canada, from other places. We, by the way, probably have a deal with Canada. You probably saw that. Very major tariffs were going on to Canada today. We delayed it for 3 days because I think we have a deal with the Prime Minister, and good deal for everybody. So that's good. But the construction jobs are enormous. We're building the biggest plants anywhere in the world. And I can say if I were the mayor of a town or the governor of a state and I had a chance to get a big plant in, an AI plant or a data center, I would absolutely want it because the jobs are enormous and the money paid, the taxes paid are just enormous. And if you don't take it, you're going to be left behind because there are plenty of places that want it. So I would say that maybe it can use a little public relations help. But if I were a governor or mayor, I would want that plant in my community. And many of them are designed in a very beautiful way. It's really very positive. Okay, thank you.
A little off topic. So you mentioned Joe Biden and some of the past leadership, and it's been about 69 days since we've seen Mitch McConnell. Sometimes when you look at Congress, it looks like the cast of
Yeah.
Cancun. But I read a Cindy Adams column in the New York Post recently, and she talked about how we need term limits and someone needs to hold Congress accountable. Maybe you should be the person to do it. Would you support term limits for Congress or some type of cognitive testing? Because maybe if we had that the last 4 years,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have ended up in some of these messes.
So term limits are very popular with the public. I've seen it both ways. I've seen where people go in and they get termed out and they're very talented and they're at the height of their career, politicians. And you end up with total rookies in there, nothing gets done. And I've seen it the other way where people are there too long. We see that all the time. I see both. I always like to say that a term limit is an election. The public's pretty smart. You see that last night. We had some great success last night. The Republican Party had tremendous success last night. But I like to say that term limits should be elections. But I'm okay with term limits. Remember, the people that have to pass term limits are the people that are going to be voting on them to get out of office. So it's a little bit tough. That's not the easiest vote to get, is it, huh? But I'm okay with it one way or the other. I do think elections really turn people out.
Mr. President, I want to ask you about Canada, but first, the Treasury Secretary says that we could see the most impactful sanctions on Iran this week. When will they come, and what else could be sanctioned on Iran?
Well, we have things that we could sanction. We have very draconian sanctions, and we'll see what happens. Right now, the strait is open. A lot of boats are coming through. People aren't reporting that, and that may slow down a little bit at some point, but right now, a lot of boats are coming through. The naval blockade has been extremely effective. Literally, while it's up, and that's been for quite a while, except for a couple of little pauses where we opened it purposely with a deal. But the deal didn't terminate. The deal didn't turn out to be what they said. When they tell us one thing and they do another. But the blockade has been 100% successful. No boats have gotten into Iran, but they are getting in for other places. But we'll see. We're going to see what happens. It'll either be extremely good and oil prices are going to drop like a rock, or we'll continue to do exactly what we're doing. They were talking about $350 a barrel, and it's today $84, $85. And we are getting a lot of oil out. But the other thing that's happened is people have found other alternatives, which they never thought about. Texas, Alaska, Louisiana, and other places. In addition, a lot of pipelines, record numbers of pipelines are being built. So I think the Hormuz Strait's not going to be quite as important as it was in the past.
Now, on Canada, if I could ask you, you said that there's a deal, an agreement in place. Are you willing to lower tariffs on steel and aluminum?
Well, we're looking at that.
In order to get
Yeah. Well, we're getting zero for our farmers. Farmers have been hurt very badly by Canada, and they won't be paying any tariffs anymore. And we may bring some of the tariffs down to a level where other countries are, because Canada was paying a higher tariff. Canada was paying us a higher tariff. So we have a very nice relationship with leadership right now, and we'll see. But we did a 3-day pause. It was supposed to be a 50% straight across the board tariff. That was going into effect at 7 o'clock this morning. And I delayed it at the request of Canada for 3 days so we can iron out the details. But it's going to be a wonderful deal, hopefully a wonderful deal for everybody, yeah.
Mr. President, earlier today you said North Korea has something like 57 nuclear weapons. They've been expanding their nuclear program. Is your goal in trying to re-engage with Chairman Kim still denuclearization? And what makes you think you could be successful now when you weren't?
Well, I don't want to talk about that, but I do have a good relationship with Kim Jong-un, as you know, you've seen. He didn't like Biden. He didn't like Obama. He didn't like anybody, but he likes me, and I just got along with him very good. We had great meetings. We speak, and I think our nation, and I think other nations, frankly, whether it's Japan or South Korea, they're a lot safer if I'm president than if somebody else is president. Now, I didn't like the fact that we're doing these massive military exercises, really against North Korea. It was a exercise against North Korea. When I'm friendly with him, I don't see anything happening for certainly 2.5 years. It's not going to happen with me, but I don't see anything happening. And I was not happy when South Korea said, no, they're not interested in helping us with the Hormuz Strait, and yet they get 60% of their oil from the Hormuz Strait. I said, would you like to help us? He said, no, thank you. I said, that's nice, please, thank you. He made us a lot of money. I didn't like that. So I felt that to do we were doing a massive war exercise. I thought that was very insulting to somebody that, frankly, has been, during my term at least, very well behaved. Yeah.
On the bond market, is the administration done enough to stabilize the bond market after yesterday?
Well, I think it is, but I mean, it's very sad. Every time we do great, we announce great numbers, the interest rates go up. And they go up because they want to stop inflation. They should go down because the country's strong. You know, I see countries like Switzerland where they're the #1 lowest interest rates, 0.5%, and we pay 3.5%. And yet, if we stop doing business, for instance, I have the absolute right to cut off all business with a country like Switzerland, like anything. So why are they prime if I can cut off the business and they are no longer functional? And yet they're considered to be like an elite country. And I don't want to single them out because there's 60 countries like that. They live off the United States. So why are we paying higher interest rates than them? You know, in the old days, we used to pay the lowest interest rate, no matter how we were doing, because we sort of generate for the whole world. And I want to see it where interest rate, and I have to tell you, we have a wonderful chairman. I think he's doing a great job. The problem is he has a board, and it's a political board. It's people put in by Obama, Biden, and me. And there are quite a few members still left, as you understand. And so they vote to raise interest rates. I don't know if they're doing it because they think they're doing a good thing or because they like the politics of it. But my point is, years ago, 25 years ago, when the country announced good numbers, interest rates went down because we had a stronger country. Now when we announce good numbers, the better they are, the worse it is for interest rates. So we could have a GDP of 10 times. You know, they say, oh, it's going to be 3 times or 4.1. We could have a GDP of 10, 12, 15 times if they just leave us alone. Let the rates go down. We should pay the lowest interest rates. You know, every point of interest is $600 billion. Think of that. Every point of interest is $600 billion. 2 points means we make a fortune, but we keep driving it up. It's a very unfair system, and I've said it now for a long time. When our country does well, interest rates should go down. I mean, every time I hear our country's doing well, I say, oh, it's too bad, because they lift up interest rates. They should drop interest rates because it means we have a strong country. And it's all based on credit, meaning good credit. And we have the best credit. And we'd pay off the debt very easily, very quickly. But if somebody's paying 0.5 point, we should be paying 0.5 point, not somebody else. Right now, I think it's Switzerland has the lowest. Again, and I don't want to single them out, but if you take our business away from Switzerland, they have problems. So why are they paying 0.5 point and we're paying much more than that? Does that make sense to anybody? I mean, it seems pretty simple to me, but it's a killer. You know, I almost like to hear bad numbers. I'm saying, I hope we have bad numbers today. Interest rates will go down. It doesn't make sense. When our business is good, we should lower interest rates. And then you want to build America, you're going to see a building like you've never seen. We're doing great, even despite the fact of what's happening with interest rates.
Should Americans be concerned about this volatility in the bond market?
No, I don't think so, because like I said, our country is doing so well despite interest rates. We have interest rates that are they're actually artificially high. They raise them for no reason. And you can't go out to the market when you have a Fed that's raising interest. You can't say, oh, I want to pay 3 points less than what the Fed says you're supposed to be paying. So, no, I don't think so at all. I think we have a very powerful country, and we're powering through these ridiculous interest rates. They're ridiculous. Look, when our country is strong, interest rates should go down. When our country is weak, frankly, they should go up. But this country is strong. There's never been in history the kind of money coming into a country as we have right now. Trillions and trillions of dollars are being invested in plants, factories, everything. Everything you can think of. We're the hottest country in the world. We are by far, and I said it 100 times, the king of Saudi Arabia, but many, many people, they said 2 years ago, 3 years ago, your country was dead. Now you have the hottest country in the world. That's what we have. We have the hottest country in the world, and these people are helping us a lot. Thank you very much, everybody. Come on to the Oval Office. We're going to take them into the Oval, we're going to show them a real office, okay? Their offices are nice, but this is nice.
Did you watch Darlene Graham's debate, Mr. President? Thank you, press.
Well, President Trump complimented the Winklevoss brothers, called them male models. I don't know why he has this thing where he needs to call men handsome when they are. And then Hyperliquid, he said Hyperliquid. He said Hyperliquid and hype went crazy, which is so amazing because, well, we've been right before the speech started, we talked about how I think that, or how we think that Hyperliquid is a fantastic coin. We're almost at new all-time highs, insane. We've gone up by 24% in the past, what you call it, well, this is the daily candle, but we're up 15% in just the 1 hour alone. What else did he do? Well, he talked about many economical infactualities, such as we need to reduce the rates and that the economy is doing well, so on and so forth. I mean, Switzerland, you can't compare America to Switzerland. The Swiss population is like, what, less than 10 million? The American population is hundreds of millions of people. Switzerland has lower rates, obviously. They've got much more economic stability. They've got a lower population to manage. Their GDP per capita, it's just you can't make these comparisons. America is a totally different place to Switzerland. And your economy is doing really bad. Yes, okay. The more you raise interest rates, the worse your debt becomes, but you don't save tons of money or you don't make a fortune, sorry, when rates come down. You actually save money, but you're still causing your debt to increase. And if you reduce the rates, and inflation goes through the roof, then you'll have a massive depression. You compare interest rates being lower in the decades before us when we were too young to remember, but that not being the story now. Well, it's because the Keynesian model screwed up America's finances and it screwed up the world's finances. By keeping lower rates for prolonged periods, you print a bunch of money. And when you print a bunch of money, you cause hyperinflation. When you cause hyperinflation, your debt rockets and you can't pay it off anymore. So there was a bunch of economic infactualities. Hyperliquid was mentioned, which is great. I love Hyperliquid and I'm so happy for it. We literally spoke about hype right before the stream started. Hype, 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 hype. Where are you? There you are. We're at 62 bucks and currently we trade at 69 bucks. Beautiful. He said that the Strait of Hormuz was open. It is closed. He says that there is traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. We have historically low traffic in the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, so I wouldn't I wouldn't take into account much of the things that were said to be accurate. But when we talk about the crypto angle, yeah, clearly there's been a great boost in regulation, and I really hope the Clarity Act is going to pass. Brian Armstrong said that we're going to have a vote on the 15th of September to pass the Clarity Act. This is not true. We're going to have a cloture vote. Cloture is not the same as the vote which you need to pass it. In cloture, you need a 60 senator aye to say, all right, we're done negotiating this, and we want to push it to the next step. So the 15th of September is not a vote to pass the bill, which was like wrong. Like it was wrong. They got it wrong. But look, okay. I hope Clarity Act passes. Paul Atkins and Mike Selig, they are so pro crypto. It's beautiful. Like they're the guys that can really enable pro crypto innovation and for industry to succeed. This is a no-brainer. The SEC chair has a new initiative of developing IPOs for crypto and making them regulated. We will see for the first time regulated IPOs. They're going to raise up to $75 million. And in the bull markets, when it comes around in a year or two, I think we're going to have a massive IPO season. Like IPOs in 2017 will likely come back with a stronger bang. Like I'm pretty confident on this that IPOs will be a new trend and there's going to be so much money to be made in the markets when we're in the bull because of if this IPO thing becomes reality. However, Clarity, on the other hand, do I believe it's going to get passed? No, I don't. The whole reason for the Clarity Act to not go through is literally the event itself. I mean, the people there, are all massive funders of President Trump's campaign. The Winklevoss twins, the male models, they donated millions of dollars to Trump's campaign. Coinbase, a huge lobby for it. Like all of these guys lobbied so hard, and they're the ones making the legislation, which in the eyes of the Democrats, okay, why is the crypto industry making, legislation in their favor? Which I don't really agree, but from the Democrats' political angle, the guy launched Trump Coin, the guy launched many crypto ventures. He said he likes finance. Yes, he does. He made a lot of money from crypto. And in the eyes of the American public, when the debt is building up and people are paying for their groceries with Klarna and President Trump makes billions from crypto, it's not a good look. So will the Democrats vote aye and risk losing their midterm elections? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I would hope for the Clarity Act to pass. It would be amazing. Even if we don't, though, tokenization is still happening. I'm still bullish on the layer ones that we spoke of. I think this is a great initiative and can provide IPO opportunities in the upcoming bull. But with that said, those were the biggest highlights from the conference. Oh, final thing, the Bitcoin reserve. Notice how somebody asked whether if President Trump will accumulate Bitcoin into their stockpile. He immediately diverted the question and said that the SEC chair and the CFTC chair are responsible for coming up with a strategy. That's diversion. The same diversion occurred many times last year. We should have had a constant accumulation of Bitcoin. They were supposedly developing strategies to buy Bitcoin in a debt-free manner or in a way that it doesn't affect the taxpayer. What happened? A year has passed by. We've still not gotten it. And Trump's divergence, or him diverting that question and shifting the responsibility to me, tells that we're not getting America buying Bitcoin, unfortunately. Unfortunately. The Swiss also have less illegals in their country compared to the US. That's a very, very accurate statement. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into today's show. I think it was good. Today was a good day. Let's celebrate it because in the bear market, we don't have many good days. Even if Bitcoin tanks tomorrow or in the upcoming week, let's just remember that today was good and that Hyperliquid went up, and it's just a happy conclusion. So let's keep it as a happy memory. Call it a day. And I shall see you all in the next stream or next video very soon. Take care.